when you cannot afford oxtail. Now listen, oxtail is Mr. Oxtail in the store right now. So the next best thing, maybe a third the price of oxtail, is turkey necks. And what I went ahead and did, I cut it up into 1.5 inch pieces. Some pieces about an inch, some pieces about 1.5 inches, and I washed it with the juice of a lemon and cool water. I drained it. You know, turkey have that funky smell and I'm trying to get rid of it at all costs. We're gonna season. I'm gonna hit them with a little Angostura bitters. Now if you can't find the Angostura bitters, I'm not paid to use it, but I really like it. You can leave it out. It's one of them things there. Yeah, it makes a difference, but you can leave it out. Black pepper, yeah? I like a little Worcestershire. Boom. We hit them with that Worcestershire in there as well too. Sea salt, and you can use any sea salt. I mean any salt you have at home. I just like using sea salt. Just about 100% of the things. That's the only salt I have in my house. Let me lie. Caribbean green seasoning. Boom. A nice, yo, I don't know if you guys saw that Instagram reel I did when I did that green seasoning, but it's the best thing. If you're new to Caribbean cooking, and you know, you may find that I'm repeating myself every time I say this. For the regulars, a Caribbean green seasoning is a blend or puree of all the herbs we like using. My base is olive oil, and I also like adding garlic and seasoning peppers and all that stuff to it. I added an onion, 1 scotch bonnet pepper. That's a green scotch bonnet pepper, tends to have a different flavor. Not so much heat, but a sort of a flavor to it. I want some tomato in there as well too. That tomato is going to help with my gravy later on. And that is pretty much it. We will add some more flavoring stuffs later on, but for now that is it. We're just going to hit that a little mixy mix. Skirks! I lie. You need a little tomato ketchup in there too. For filming purposes, I'm going to start cooking this right away. But if you have the opportunity to season this and marinate it overnight, best thing. Next best thing, a couple hours. So you would mix them up like I'm doing here. Put a little cling wrap on top there and stick it in the fridge to marinate for a couple hours. You get better results. I've got my nice big pot, my stewing pot there on a high flame, something heavy. I'm using that sort of cast iron, glazed cast iron. I went in there with 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil. You can use vegetable oil or any oil you have that you like to use. I'm going to go in with 1.5 tablespoons of golden brown sugar. And this part here, a lot of you know it as brown stewing. What we're going to do is caramelize the sugar. We're not burning the sugar, we're going to caramelize it. So what's going to happen here? Nope, it will not be a sweet dish. This is very savory. This is all about color and the overall flavor later on. What will happen? That sugar will melt. It will go frothy, and then it will go a deep amber, close to being black, but not black. If it goes black by mistake, shut things down. Cool the pot completely. Wash it. Start over with a dry pot. Yeah, or you're gonna end up with a burnt tasting dish. We don't want that. Now back to the turkey necks. I don't know if I finished saying what I was saying there. I have about 4 pounds of turkey necks there. And I cut it up and I washed it and we seasoned it. And it's a great replacement if you can't afford, you know, as in my case, I can't afford oxtails at the moment. Oxtail is anywhere from $12 to $18 or so a pound in Canada. In Ontario, anyways. When it does come on sale, people is real rush it down. Why am I trying to rush? Since I know there are hot spots on my stove here where the flame under the pot here tends to be stronger, I like to move around that sugar, because if you leave it one spot, what's going to happen is it will want to burn on you on that one exact spot. So notice how it's melting down now. It will melt down, and you know, this is just about all the stew dishes I've shared with you over the years, and there are many. This is the exact same process, except we're doing it with turkey necks. And if you look closer, you'll see what I mean. So this area is already dark, this area is not. So I'm just going to move that around a bit. As we have that even color all the way through, I'm going to start and be very careful here. Start adding the pieces of seasoned turkey necks to the pot. And we're going to hit that a stir. And that's going to sort of pick up all that color on the bottom of the pot there. It's been going now with the lid on for about 3 minutes. And notice how much liquid already sprouted out there. I'm going to hit it another stir. And what I'm going to do is turn the heat down to medium low and let that cook and develop that color and everything for about 10 minutes. In the meanwhile, in the same bowl where you marinated the turkey necks, hit it with about 4 cups of water. Swish it around. We want to pick up any sort of marinade that's left back. Later on, we're going to use that liquid to braise this until it's nice and tender. But for now, lid on with a slight. Got that lovely color, and you can see how much liquid really come out there. But you see the color that we've developed. I've stirred it a couple times. So we are at the 12-minute mark there of that being on the stove there, bubbling, bubbling away. Gosh, the boy tied, tongue-tied. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is crank up the heat. We want to burn off all that liquid. In the process of burning off that liquid, we'll achieve 2 things. We will intensify the color and the flavor of the entire stew. But stand by, we've got that liquid, like I said, 4 cups of water, because we will have to braise this down. 4 minutes under the high heat, and you can see it's starting to burn off most of that liquid. What we're going to do is continue burning this, because I want all of that liquid that you're seeing there to sort of burn off. You know, back in the old days, I remember we would refer to this jokingly or maybe serious as ghetto oxtail. I man won't use that sort of term when it comes to our food anymore, because characterizing our food as ghetto kind of thing, no, that ain't cool at all, man. We just frugal and we know what we can and cannot afford. Then you add the fact that, yo, we're taking something basic as turkey neck. Turkey neck, all it is, use it for all the gravy. What we doing here? We creating a delicious meal out of it. A complete meal, because we know how to use it. Alright? So, we ain't go the ghetto oxtail route now, man. Took another 3 or 4 minutes or so, but you notice, no more liquid. We have the oils that we started off with. The pieces are nice and brown. The kitchen is smelling incredible. Or, back in the old days, I would say, boy, kitchen smelling wicked, sir. That water we talking about, in goes that water. Actually, I will need to add another cup, so we want 5 cups of water in total in here. My heat is on high because I'm trying to bring it up to a boil. What I like going in with is with some more fresh thyme. I've got coconut cream. I want some slices of ginger in there as well. Sprinkle that in there, and all you want is about 8 berries of that allspice or pimento seed. And the sort of final sort of flavor burst is going to be a couple bay leaves. Tuck that down inside there. To ensure that this braises down nicely, I'm just going to add just a bit more water. Technically, what you want to do is cover it with water. We're going to bring it up to a boil. As you see there, we're going to put the lid on it and reduce it to simmer. And that is where all that fun and niceness is going to happen. That coconut cream is going to melt. It was in the refrigerator, so that's why it's a bit hard at the moment. And I like repeating that thyme in here, even though the Caribbean green seasoning has a lot of thyme in it. I just love the additional boom, that herbal note, boy. It complements. You see them little allspice berries there, and that ginger and the bay leaf. And oh gosh, I'm telling you, bring it up to a boil. Bring it up to a boil now. 1 hour into things. Now here's where we at. You know, this is a lovely color. That liquid is starting to reduce down. The meat around the bones of the neck there is starting to tighten up, and when you start to get that sort of pull back there, you know, nice things is happening. Just gonna hit that another little quick stir. Stir it every 15-20 minutes or so, and you're good. If you wanted to add some bell pepper in here, if you wanted to add some carrots in here, all those things work really nice. If you know, in my green seasoning, I have a lot of garlic in there, but if you wanted to add some garlic cloves in there, if garlic is your thing, you can do all of that. Lid back on, slightly ajar, let that breathe, and let that keep going. We want this nice and tender. It's been an hour and a half. I cranked up the heat a little bit because this is nice and tender. Here's where you're going to personalize things a little bit. You're going to taste it for salt. You're going to make sure it's nice and tender to your liking. Adjust that salt. At this point, you can fish out the pimento berries as well as the ginger and the bay leaf. Yeah, no more use for that. You can fish that out. And as we normally do whenever I cook, I like to finish off with a little greenery. And this time it's complement of some scallion, just to brighten it up a little bit. Let's hit that one more quick stir. The residual heat is going to waken up the niceness of that scallion. Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com. Always a pleasure having you guys here in the kitchen with me. Something cost effective, like, you know, when you don't have oxtail money, but you want that little oxtail kind of vibe. It's not the same, but it's pretty close. Give it a try. Hey, listen, if you have a tip on saving money during these hard times, yeah, it's hard times, at the grocery store, drop a comment down below. I want to create a sort of a video, which, of course, I will mention your name, whoever leaves the comment that I use, just to help people budget and everything else when it comes to these hard times. Irie? Irie.